The Aerospace Institute in Stuttgart has discovered a relatively simple way of making the structure of a drop of water visible. The drops are placed on a sheet of glass and allowed to dry. Under the microscope, they reveal fascinating images that can be photographed with a special camera. The researchers have had their efforts rewarded by insights into a very beautiful world. Each drop has a face of its own, unmistakable and unique. Why are the individual drops so different from one another? What do the photographs tell us? Who can interpret them? What information is stored in them, and where did it come from? Perhaps from humankind itself? And here you can see the results. Here on the right you can see that the images of the individual students are different, but those made by a given student are all quite similar. This is the work of the first experimenter, this one here from the second, this from the third, and this from the fourth. Individually they can quite easily be reproduced, but you would never have thought that they were all from the same water, because when you compare the images from the different people, you see some big differences. So it must be the case that information from the experimenter, who was holding the syringe in his hand but never touched the water, must have been transferred to the water and was captured in this image.
Researchers around the world have been persistently trying to get water to reveal its secrets. Often it takes an accident to lead to a surprising result. Those who thought they knew everything about water have had to admit how little they really knew about this element. A sensational report arrived from America.
Water was not originally the subject of research by the American TV technician John Cancius from Pennsylvania. He was looking for a way to fight cancer cells in the human body. One night he had the idea of injecting gold nanoparticles and then exposing them to radio frequencies. The radio waves are said to heat the diseased cells and kill them without harming the healthy ones. By chance, he also discovered that radio frequencies can split salt water into oxygen and hydrogen, thus providing a source of fuel.
The interesting thing is that's probably around 1500 degrees centigrade. This is the most abundant element in the world, water, and salt water is everywhere. And to see it burn actually gives me chills.
No one has yet explained this phenomenon, but it is clear that the strong flame it produces can, for example, power a Stirling engine. The renowned physicist Rustam Roy had this to say about the discovery.
It is the biggest discovery in water research in 100 years. That's John Barker.
In 100 years?
In water research.
In fact, there is no guarantee that every discovery will contribute to human progress. Not without reason does it make an inventor shudder to realize that radio waves can make seawater burn. The idea that the black gold of oil might be replaced by the white gold of water to power the Earth's tens of millions of cars has something frightful about it as well.
The blessing and curse of an invention often lie side by side. On the one hand, it is fascinating that seawater might one day provide the solution to one of humankind's biggest existential problems, that of energy. On the other hand, we must realize that mass combustion of salt water might also have dramatic effects on the ecological balance of our planet.
Research continues, of course, even when no immediate benefit is expected. At the University of Technology in Graz, Austria, young scientists are seeking to discover why water placed in two glasses and subjected to a high voltage charge will climb the sides of the glasses to meet. It doesn't do it at some random part of the glasses, but at exactly the spot where the water from the two glasses will meet. If one moves the glasses away from each other, the water creates a hanging bridge that can be up to 2 centimeters long. So far, even the world's greatest scientists have been unable to explain the phenomenon. So far, there is not even a theory about the sensational behavior of the water. The next step in examining the phenomenon more closely is the use of a thermal imaging camera. With its help, we can see more clearly the mysterious processes taking place within the bridge. It is not difficult to see that all hell's let loose here. For the layman, it looks as though water could breathe. But for the scientist, it continues to be an unexplained phenomenon for now.
Since we're using pure water and have verified that that's the case, we can't be seeing foreign bodies here. There can't be gas bubbles either. It's water in any case, but it is different water. Water that has a different structure at a different density.
Scientists in Israel are also experimenting with water's ability to retain information. Here the measuring instruments are bacteria.
If you expose water to weak electromagnetic radiation, the effect should be erased within milliseconds. Not only that, but even if there is some effect, it should be so weak that even our best and most advanced technological tools will not be able to detect the differences. But the bacteria can do it. Not only they can detect the differences, but what they can do, they can amplify it to the point that we can look at the colony, that it's going after the bacteria were exposed to water that had some weak electromagnetic radiation, that they can go 2 or 3 times faster than the other bacteria.
The internal structure of water molecules remains a mystery. Science attempts to penetrate the interior of the molecules, to study them, and to get a systematic picture of them. But even the most modern computers have their limits.
We really don't know exactly everything what happened there, but I can tell you for sure that if a molecule entered to water, so a lot of things changed. First of all, the molecule. The second, around the molecule you have a shell that we call it solvation shell of water molecule that surround this molecule and making the molecule different from the molecule outside water. So molecules can behave differently in water. And it's very interesting. Now, this molecule that you enter to the water will change all the molecule around that was before in the water. So it's a lot of complicated things. If water will be in a magnetic field, so they will behave differently, sometimes totally differently.
Johann Grande, the waterman of Tyrol, believes that it is possible to transfer information from one sample of water to another, without the two of them coming into contact with each other. The process developed by him, so-called water revitalization, is based on the principle of conducting flowing water through a stainless steel container that is filled with revitalized water. The flowing water picks up the information from the still water. But Grande's success has its opponents, who call water revitalization parascientific nonsense. In fact, the process cannot be understood by using conventional scientific means. Nevertheless, more than 300,000 users worldwide rely on his system, from simple households to high-tech industries. Industrial users are not bothered by the critics. They rely on their own experience and results. Conventional water is aggressive and practically eats the pipes from the inside out, which leads to pipes bursting. At the Lietzen mechanical engineering plant in Austria, there seemed to be no solution to the problem.
We had very serious problems with corrosion, and that was reflected in many instances of broken pipes. We now have the situation better under control. At first I really couldn't get my mind around it, because when you look at the container you really can't imagine what good it could do. But based on the fact that we now have fewer instances of broken pipes and all, I'm convinced that it really does help. We monitored the water, and before we installed Grander, the iron content in the heating water was 26 milligrams per liter. 2 months later, the iron had come down to only 0.7 milligrams per liter, which was, of course, excellent for the corrosion. The corrosion stopped.
Does water revitalization make the water less aggressive? Positive results have been seen not only in the case of rust, but also with the accumulation of sludge. No one is sure why, but they are certainly pleased with the results.
We also have records and measurements to prove it.
They know the results, but not the reason. But isn't that good enough? For the layman, these are just a few curves. For the researchers, however, water remains an unpredictable element.
There are so many anomalies, more than 40 anomalies that include almost all the physical parameters: boiling point, melting point, surface tension, viscosity, refraction index, velocity of sound in water, conductance. Anomalies, anomalies. I mean things that you really cannot explain with conventional models. We certainly don't have any explanatory model for water that is entirely adequate. I do not really believe that, once we finally understood it, that the entire worldview of the natural sciences will have changed, but I do think we're in for a surprise.
You have the characteristic of James Bond, and you have 00 in front of your name. Maybe you can tell if you shake or stir martini the difference.